Good evening and welcome to 442 Breaking News. I am your host, Zufan. Human Rights Watch implicates Ethiopian government forces in violations of international law, potentially amounting to war crimes. The summary from Human Rights Watch dated July 3, 2023, portrays a dire situation in Ethiopia's Amhara region. It details the destruction of the healthcare system across 13 towns within various zones of Amhara. The report indicates that the Ethiopian military may have committed grave breaches of international humanitarian law, potentially constituting war crimes. In August 2023, the outbreak of armed conflict between federal forces and the Amhara militia Fano severely affected healthcare services. A doctor from West Gojam, Solomon, experienced intimidation and threats from Ethiopian soldiers, who accused him of supporting Fano. Human Rights Watch documented similar mistreatment of healthcare workers throughout Amhara, suggesting that government forces may have engaged in international law violations that could be considered war crimes. The ordeal for the Amhara people started following April 2023 protests over the disbanding of regional forces, leading to extensive violence. The Ethiopian government declared a state of emergency, deploying the military and militias to confront Fano. The civilian population suffered immensely, with attacks on hospitals, looting of medical supplies, and significant barriers to health care. Despite global appeals for accountability and aid, progress has been scant. The UN and AU face calls to intensify their oversight, investigate the reported abuses, and guarantee the safety of healthcare professionals. The ongoing conflict continues to hinder relief operations and aggravate the humanitarian emergency in the region. In another developing story, a conservative watchdog group has lodged an ethics complaint against Minnesota Representative Ilhan Omar following her attendance at a recent event. The American Accountability Foundation alleges that Omar may have breached the Federal Election Campaign Act by participating in a rally with former Somali Prime Minister Hassan Ali Khayre, as reported by the New York Post. At the rally, Khayre is said to have endorsed Omar and called for voter support in her favor. The AAF, in its complaint, expressed deep concern over Ilhan Omar's illegal campaign rally with the former Prime Minister of Somalia, suggesting that Omar's participation might be seen as improper foreign interference in American elections. Omar's campaign lawyer, David Mitrani, quickly refuted the accusations, stating, "Congresswoman Omar's campaign was in no way involved in inviting, coordinating, or facilitating Mr. Khayre's appearance or remarks." Mitrani emphasized that the event did not violate any laws. The AAF has urged the Office of Congressional Ethics to examine the issue, pointing to possible violations. Representative Omar, noted for being the first African refugee from Somalia to serve in the House, has not heeded resignation calls, but has been under scrutiny for past comments and actions. Next, the United Arab Emirates, UAE, has proposed to the U.S. a military base in Berbera port. This initiative serves as a strategic alternative to relying solely on aircraft carriers, a response to Djibouti's refusal to allow the U.S. to conduct operations against the Houthis from Camp Lemonnier. The UAE has been actively developing a military presence in Berbera, strategically positioned near Yemen, where Emirati forces are deeply involved in combating Houthi rebels supported by Iran. This development represents a significant shift in military strategy and regional alignments, aimed at addressing security challenges in the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden. The UAE has also been engaged extensively in African geopolitics, securing substantial agreements including multi-billion-dollar investments in mining in the Democratic Republic of Congo, carbon credit acquisitions in Liberia, and the management of ports in Tanzania, Somalia, and Sudan. However, the UAE has also faced allegations of exacerbating civil conflicts in countries such as Sudan and Ethiopia, underscoring its complex role and impact across the continent. Now from the world of sports, Binyam Girmay becomes first black African to win Tour de France stage. Our reporter has more on this amazing story. History has been made on the cycling circuit as Binyam Girmay from Eritrea clinched a monumental victory during the third stage of this prestigious race. Girmay's triumph is not only significant for his career, but also marks a watershed moment as the first black rider to claim a stage win at the Tour de France. In a stirring post-race interview, Girmay spoke passionately about what this victory means, not just for himself but for the entire African continent. "This win is for all Africans," he declared, visibly elated and proud to represent his heritage on cycling's grandest stage. "Now it's our moment. It's our time," he added, reflecting on the historic nature of his achievement. Before stepping onto the podium, Girmay took a poignant moment to connect with his Eritrean supporters, who waved their national colors with pride. The sight of the green, red, and blue flag symbolized a shared joy and unity in celebration of this remarkable victory. Jack Vispik, the performance director for Girmay's Intermarchwanti team, underscored the significance of Girmay's win, describing him as an ambassador not just for his team, but for the sport as a whole. "He's an ambassador in every sense of the word," Vispik emphasized, recognizing the impact of Girmay's achievement beyond the race itself. For those unfamiliar with the Tour de France, it is the oldest and most prestigious of the three Grand Tours of cycling, annually showcasing the world's top cyclists over multiple stages predominantly across France. Known for its grueling challenges and breathtaking landscapes, the Tour de France is a true test of endurance, skill, and strategy. As the race continues to unfold, filled with its characteristic drama and excitement, we invite you to stay tuned for more updates on this extraordinary event. History is being written mile by mile, pedal stroke by pedal stroke, at the Tour de France. In conclusion, recent protests in Kenya against proposed tax increases have escalated into deadly riots, with the International Monetary Fund, IMF, becoming a focal point of criticism. Murals in central Nairobi proclaim, "IMF keep your hands off Kenya," mirroring the widespread public frustration. President William Ruto was forced to retract a finance bill designed to raise $2 billion in taxes due to the turmoil, revealing a profound aversion to IMF-influenced economic policies. Critics contend that IMF policies have exacerbated Kenya's economic woes, leading unemployed youth to join demonstrations condemning the IMF's influence on Kenya. Despite the bill's retraction, nationwide protests persisted, demanding Ruto's resignation and labeling him an IMF puppet. This sentiment is shared across Africa, where nations are resisting IMF-enforced austerity in return for loans. In Nigeria, austerity measures by President Bola Tinubu, supported by a $2.25 billion World Bank loan, have incited strikes due to reduced subsidies and currency devaluation. The IMF maintains that its strategies are crucial, providing low-interest loans to avert defaults and foster economic stability. Nonetheless, critics like economist Vincent Kimisop from Nairobi argue that such measures overlook inequality and contribute to political unrest. Kenya's unrest underscores the quandary confronting leaders like Ruto, caught between the IMF's fiscal austerity demands and the public's call for economic alleviation. This reflects similar protests in Latin America against IMF loans, notably in Ecuador. Amidst a civil war, many observers are focusing on Ethiopia, as it confronts a significant challenge with an IMF loan and reform package that could entail currency devaluation. This concludes our news segment. See you next week.